A lot of
For
times
sure.
you can't control situations.
And yeah, realize that you kind of have to, there's a level of acceptance that I think everybody, if you want to be happy in life, there's a level of acceptance that you're not going to be able to control everything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just like, the world kind of shut down. We had COVID. And then in Utah, all of a sudden we're having earthquakes and stuff. And
Yeah.
I was like, I am living for all the memes right now because
Yeah.
it gives us something to laugh at in this situation that sucks for everybody. Nobody
you're
can
like,
control.
What else? Okay.
Yeah. What we got, bring it on next. What's coming next? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you really haven't gone, I mean, you have your own trials, but you haven't really gone through something hard. Divorce is hard.
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing anything about that?
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's in itself, I mean,
It
that's
is,
hard.
and
Yeah.
it's probably like Shane and I talked about this. Like, it's probably something that like most people haven't been through a traumatic brain injury.
No.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But a lot of people have been through a divorce.
Yes.
A lot of
They can
people have
relate.
been through
A
so it's-
breakup or whatever.
Right. So it's relatable that way for sure. I got married young. I got married at 18 years old.
Yep.
Wow.
Straight out of high school.
Straight out of high school. I mean, literally moved from my parents' house to with my new husband, had a mortgage when I was 19.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
and I thought I knew it all. You know what I
Of course
mean?
you did.
Yeah.
Like everybody that age does. But yeah, I thought I had it all figured out. I had this whole, I knew exactly what I wanted my future to be. I always wanted kids. I wanted like the whole thing,
Family and
Yeah. And which are still like,
white picket fence.
yep, all of it.
Dog. Yeah.
Exactly. So, happy little life. And, getting married at 18, I wouldn't recommend it,
No.
but I don't regret it. I have 4 kids and I have experience and I have all these things and I wouldn't change it. But, like I said, it did take me a long time I feel like I almost grew up with him because we were so young and it was very much a part of my identity, I guess. So I kind of got lost in that. Like that was my whole
That's who
world.
you are. Yeah.
yeah. And so the thought of, the marriage is deteriorating, things are going downhill, like it's scary and I'm scared to be without him. But it got to a point where I realized, I'm more scared to stay in this situation.
Yeah. And not
Yeah,
make it better
to
for
wake up
yourself.
in 5 years from now and still be living like this. Like, I guess you have 2 choices. You either accept it or you change it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I accepted it for a long time and then it got to the point of no return. And it was hard for me because, like I said, I was totally, that was my whole life.
Yeah.
And so, I had to be able to like make that decision and choose that. And it took me a long time to get there, but I got there and I've realized I've grown so much since then. Like, I've gained my independence
Yeah.
and like realized who I am and what I want. And,
You've-
I can be a,
Like re-identified
yeah.
with yourself, right?
And I've realized like, I'm a badass. I can do this,
Yeah.
like even just, we went and drove to California last year and went on a vacation to Disneyland before everything shut down.
Yeah. Luckily.
Yeah. Good timing. But just stuff like that I never would, like I would have relied on him to do
Sure.
to take care of all those things and drive us there. And when you start realizing like you can do stuff like that yourself, it's pretty empowering.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
That's one thing that I want to say about your divorce situation. Once you made up your mind to leave him and to like it was done, you never went back on it. And I know a lot of people go back and forth and in their decision making process about divorce.
Yeah.
And you never once did that. And once you knew what you were going to do, you did it.
Yeah. And, I'm pretty stubborn that way. That's when the stubbornness comes in handy, I guess,
Yeah.
because it maybe took me a while to make that decision. But once I do, I'm like determined. In fact, I heard this after the fact, but after I got married, I heard from my now ex-husband that my dad pulled him aside and said, just want you to know, this isn't like a threat or anything, but basically not a threat, but like, if she wants something, she will get what she wants. And that's not like just like she's unreasonable and you better give her what she wants. But like if I set my mind to something, like I will get what I want if I feel strongly about it.
The exact thing I'm talking about with not going back on your decision. Like,
well, because it's not a decision you take lightly. I have 4 kids, like, and I have this 15-year marriage, and like,
and before that, you said you were really good at hiding it, and I think that's true. Like, you made up for his downfalls or whatever, and you just masked it.
Yeah. Well, I felt like a sense of loyalty to him too, and like I didn't want to, again, like it's my weakness is being vulnerable. And I had so many so our sister, you know, had gone through a divorce just a couple years before me. And I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to talk to her so bad. Like I would literally have a text message like typed up in my phone and erase it because I'm ugh. First of all, like I go back to like, I don't want to burden her. She's dealing with her own issues. I don't want to say something and then what if he and I make up and we're good and then my family has this bad feeling about him and like so that's
really respectful.
So like I just kind of kept everything to myself and like put up the kind of front where everything's fine. Even though it was not fine for a long time, but you know, I totally have a different perspective on my life now going through that. And you realize, like me and Shane have talked about this too, when you are going through something like that, like other people, like we said, everybody has their struggles and there's so many people that can relate. And I had so many people all of a sudden that were confiding things in me and coming to me and talking to me. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
And like it is cool. Yeah.
A lot of people do that to me, like, because I think they just know you've been through something hard and they feel more comfortable telling you about what they're personally going through.
For sure.
Yeah. And so that, I mean, that can apply to anything, but I've definitely gained a lot from just, you know, being able to like talk about stuff and open up and like we said, just realizing how truly like lucky I am and how many people I have that like love me, have my back, like that's pretty awesome feeling.
And that's kind of the feeling I had when I had my brain injury. Like I didn't want to let anyone down. And I like
that sense of loyalty.
Yeah,
that you have
that's how I made it through.
But you know, everybody's got their things and you just come out stronger. Like I think if you can learn something along the way from your mistakes, because it's not like I was perfect in any way, but I've grown. I feel like I've done a lot of personal growth in the last 3 years and realized, you know, what's important to me, what my priorities like really are, and just, you know, totally different perspective. That, you know, I wouldn't, it's kind of like you, I think, Shane, like you wouldn't wish for someone to have to go through a brain injury, but it brings something, or that you wouldn't have wished for yourself to go through it, but you did. And what did you gain from it?
Well, I'm glad I went through it. I wouldn't wish it upon myself or anything like that, but, I'm glad I had the opportunity to grow from it and to learn the lessons that I've learned from it.
Right.
Do you feel like you probably wouldn't have? Do you think that there would have been like, you know, more drug use? Would you have gone into more? Do you feel like you'd already overcome that part of you? But like, tell us how what would have happened if you hadn't gone through this? What do you think?
I think I would be trying to, I think I would be trying to find that personally for myself. Because I, like I said, I joined the National Guard and, like I really love the lessons that I learned from basic training. And, so I feel like I would have searched that out. That kind of lesson, but I don't know.
But this was just more thrust upon you, so then it was almost like you said earlier, like you just You had to. It's your option. That's my option. I'm just going to learn and grow from this. It is interesting how our lives are like that. That we look at it and we say, well, would I have learned what I did had I not gone through what I went through? But something for our listeners, like you mentioned a little bit, you don't have to go through. A divorce or alcoholism like I did when I was a little kid. I mean, like, you don't have to go through that kind of stuff.
You've kind of said that before too. Like, you, like with your daughters, they won't have to go through that because
I'm so glad. I don't want them to.
Yeah.
So glad. So that's why we share these stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because you said that you regained what was important to you, right? You had your own self-improvement. These are things that people can do right now, right? You can identify to yourself what is important in my life, right? And how I want to live that life and what kind of character or person I want to be, right? You can identify those things without having to go through anything hard. And then go after those things, right?
Sure. Well, and just like, my son looking at Shane and the fact that he's not giving up. So a little broken arm, no big deal. Like, my son Brock, he didn't have to have a brain injury to have that kind of determination.
I'm happy. That's one thing that I enjoy the most about my having my brain injury is being able to talk to people and just learn from them also. And it's just,
and that's why awesome. People, I listen to people's stories and it's like, oh, that's so inspiring. Like, that's so amazing that they did that. And you just can't compare your own struggles to somebody else's because
you really can't.
It's not the same. And there's a quote that I like that's like, the only person that I'm trying to be better than is the person I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to compare your story to mine because they're not the same, but you can still find inspiration and stuff like that from other, through other people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And really it's all about the character building because like you were saying, everybody's trial is different, that some may be physical, right? Like Shane's was totally physical. Yours more of an emotional type of a thing, but everybody's is emotional though, even if it's physical or not. There's still there's that emotional growth or something that you have to go through that's hard, and that's all up in here. That's not just the physical part. So that's something that everybody can learn from. Everybody's situation, you can all learn from that mental gain that you get.
Definitely. So
thank you for sharing all that. That was good.
Yeah, that was
good.
Well, like, I've heard that before, but just to have that on the podcast is really great because I think a lot of people are like you said, more people have been through a divorce than a brain injury or whatever. But I think, like you said, we can learn from anyone's stories.
Yeah, and just realize the type of people that do inspire you, that you want around you. Like Dakota Meyer, he said when he was on your podcast, one of the things that I love that he said that stuck with me is just being intentional about who you let into your life. Like, I'm a quality over quantity type of person. Like, I have a small, tight circle. Those people I would do anything for.
Yeah.
Like, I care a ton what they think about me. The rest of the world, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Yeah.
But those people, like, I'll fight to the death for those people, and I know that they would for me too. And that's how I prefer it. Like, I surround myself with these awesome people that like lift me up.
Well, that's one thing that I really learned from my situation, like who is there for me and who isn't, and who I need to kick out of my life.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to explain yourself. You cut people out if they're not, not a positive influence. Bye.
Yeah. And I've done that to a lot of people, and I don't have any regrets or don't have any ill feelings towards the person other than I don't want to be around them.
Yeah. There's some people you can be around for an hour, but not a full day. There's some people you can be around for a day, but not 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
You know, it's that law of association. And then there's some people that you need to be around more, that you only get a tiny, few minutes with, and you're like, I need to be around you more. So you just need to create relationships with those people that you feel like